What's going on, everybody? Matt here from the Service Industry Podcast, and today I have a good friend on the other line, Kyle Rossi. He is from Michigan originally, but he lives down in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And so, Kyle, how you doing today?
Good, Matt. Thanks for having me.
For sure. So, the reason, obviously, I wanted to bring you on is not only are you a good friend, but you're in a little bit different situation than most other people, where you're in a franchise, and we'll get into that. But why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself before we, get ahead of ourselves here, and then we'll get going.
Yeah, so like Matt said, my name's Kyle. I'm in the lawn care industry, so we do turf treatments, weed control, fertilization on residential and commercial properties. Matt and I actually met playing guitar in church years ago, and I feel like our love for guitars and cars and just causing trouble brought us together. And now we're fellow business owners, which is pretty cool. We get to encourage each other. But so we met in Michigan several years ago, and since then I started going to school in Indiana. I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do, and then after the first year, I was pretty discouraged, and I didn't want to keep going without a clear direction. And at the time, my father was in franchise development for a franchise called Weedman, and it just so happened that the stars kind of aligned, and it was kind of a good idea to, take a little break from school and kind of maybe find myself and find what I wanted to do. And there was an opportunity in Chattanooga, Tennessee, which was about 600 miles away from home at that point. I was, I believe, 18. And we just kind of worked up the numbers, saw that it was, something that I could go down and do, and it made sense. So we kind of went into this with, a 2-year plan, and then at the end of the 2 years, we're going to assess where we were, and that 2-year mark passed about 3 years ago, and we're still going with it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So your dad's selling franchises. He's kind of driving all over the Midwest, right? And
right. Yep.
So give us an idea. This one pops up. Was this a brand new opportunity? Did somebody already own it? How did that work?
Great question. So someone had previously signed an agreement with the franchisor, and this location in Chattanooga was previously owned by a married couple who for about 6 years had done pretty well with it. And then some personal things had gotten in the way. And then they kind of just neglected the business and walked away from it, essentially. So a nearby location in Knoxville started servicing the customers just to, keep up the company reputation of what was left at that point. And so they did that for about 2 years. And then that's kind of when the opportunity arose, said, hey, you know what, this location in Knoxville doesn't want to take over full time and start a satellite in Chattanooga. So they were looking for someone to take over this Chattanooga location and make it their own and really do well with it. So that's kind of where I got involved. And that's kind of what made it affordable to me as a currently 18-year-old. And that's kind of what made it possible to start almost from ground zero. I think when we bought the business, there was 44 customers. This year, we brought it up a little bit above 400 customers.
Wow, that's awesome. So what was that feeling like when you made the choice to move there? I mean, you've lived in Michigan your whole life for the most part, right?
Yeah.
And you choose to move to Tennessee to do something you've never done.
Oddly, it felt natural.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm just I work that way. I love going into new places where I know nobody and getting to know everyone, and somehow I thrive in that. So it was overwhelming in a sense, but I had this piece because I was going down to Chattanooga with a mission.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what really helped is I moved to this new city. I didn't know a soul. But I knew what my mission was, and all of my time went toward that, which was great and really beneficial in the first year because I wasn't distracted at all. First 2 years, Me and my business partner were down there, and I barely knew anyone outside of
Yeah.
my employees, and we just worked so much.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So
Yeah.
most guys listening to this own their own company. They're not a part of a franchise. And so I kind of wanted to dig into that a little bit because people don't necessarily understand what a franchise brings, positive and negative, right? And so let's talk a little bit about maybe some of the systems that Weedman provides that were extremely valuable in the beginning that maybe would have taken you years to figure out.
Yeah. So there's many benefits to being a part of a franchise. I know that our franchise, and they do the best they can to provide value to the franchisee. Not all franchises are like that, I can say. So if you're looking to get involved, I would definitely do your due diligence and research. Maybe talk to current franchisees, see how the support is. But the biggest thing, and if you would have asked me before I would have got into this, I probably would have said something else. But the biggest thing for anyone's business, whether it's a franchise or not, is creating systems so that you pretty much automate and can really scale and repeat your processes in order to make money. And that's kind of what my thought was the biggest value in being with franchises. Those systems are already made up. I don't have to create those systems. Mm-hmm. And those systems, inspire me and to create more systems that just better tailor the business to, how we run things. But it was just that jump start on creating protocols and ways to get sales and ways to service the customer. Because there's so many businesses out there that don't really, they're chasing the sale, they're chasing the next sale, and they know how to make sales, they know how to get referrals, but the biggest thing is creating a system so that moving forward, you can track exactly what you're doing so that it's as effective as it can be and it's repeatable so that anyone can do it. Mm-hmm. And just that is the most beneficial thing I've seen that I've gotten from being a part of a franchise. Now, there's other things like just being a part of a network of hundreds of other business owners that do exactly what we do. And it's great because there's businesses who are half the size of mine. There's businesses that are 6 times the size of mine. And we all have something to learn from each other, but we're learning from people who have done exactly what we've done and been at the stage where we're at, where it's, oh man, maybe it's the first year and I have enough work to keep an employee halfway busy. What should I do? And should I invest all this money? And how do I fill this truck all the way to keep this employee busy and make it so I'm not bringing home $10,000 that year?
Yep.
So, we can just hop on the phone with $6 million locations and talk about, how to build your team so that over the longevity of the organization, instead of just creating a team to accomplish goals this year, how are we going to create this team and really create bench strength? So I'd say those are the 2 biggest things that have helped me.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I think people don't, especially people just getting started, they don't understand the value of systems already implemented in your business for you.
It's huge.
And then the support side of it too. I mean, for my company, I can talk to people who own service companies, but they don't directly know like what's going on inside our business, right? And so they can give me advice, and I can tweak it to fit kind of what we do, but it's not exact, maybe like what you would get.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
No, so that's really cool. And so you mentioned earlier something, you had a partner when you went down there for a year or two, and I asked this question to everybody, but I love to get people's feedback on what they feel about partnerships, because people ask all the time, hey, should I get a partner? A lot of times when people want to get a partner, sometimes it's because maybe their business is struggling. Maybe they feel like, they're at the end of their rope, or they're doing everything on their own. They can't take on any more work. And so naturally, that feels like that might be a good fit. But I want to get your feedback to see what you think about partnerships and all that.
Yeah, so I've actually never not had a partner. When I first moved down here and we started this business, I had an operational partner, and I couldn't have done it without a partner. That was one of the things that before we even went down this road, I sat with a few guys, and we crunched some numbers on, I'm only going to do this if I can afford to bring someone down with me, and we can hit the ground running. I can't do this if I'm going to do it by myself, and that's just because I know myself.
Yep.
Maybe and I didn't know much back then, so I'm glad that's what we did.
Sure.
At the 2-year mark, he had a few things get in the way, and he had a few other priorities that he needed to take care of. So he bowed out, and now my father is he's not down here operational with me, but he takes care of a lot of like the financial side of things, like the month-end things and accounts billable. I'm sorry, accounts payable, things like that. But starting off, I saw huge value in having a partner because we still worked 16-hour days that first year, and just the way our business works is we have production that needs to get done, so the technicians go out and do that. We have sales that need to be done, so the sales team in the sales rooms takes care of that. In the spring, we have a marketing team that goes out basically door to door and brings in leads. And then right now I have an office manager that takes care of all of incoming calls and customer satisfaction. So there's basically 4 different aspects to the business, and starting off, I was taking care of I took care of the marketing and the technical side of things. He took care of the sales, and then all the inbound calls and the office organization. And I couldn't have done all that by myself. So just that fact, if you're looking to expand your business and you're alone right now, maybe you don't need to bring on a partner to accomplish all those other tasks. But starting off, I would say if you have real goals of hitting some real benchmarks in your first 2 years, more than likely you're going to want to start with someone who has your back and you can share all your struggles with and is there for encouragement. That's my experience. I know you have some experience with that as well.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe that's just my personality, but I think even just for like support, as silly as that sounds, like that's huge. Yeah, I mean, like on the days or weeks or months that are just rough, when you have somebody to kind of suffer with, that's been really beneficial for me. Because I mean, who knows? I mean, if I was on my own, I may quit, right? Right. But having somebody to share that with I think it's super beneficial. I also think though, like picking the right person and laying everything out legally wise, and a lot of guys are just starting LLCs and they don't have a clear vision of what they want to do or what roles people are going to be in, and that's what makes partnerships go wrong, is when things aren't clear up front. So for those of you out there that are thinking about starting a business with a partner, I think defining your roles up front, having a lawyer draw it up, sign everything, that way it's all set in stone, and then there should really be no hard feelings unless, kind of like your partner, maybe something comes up and he's got to take off, right?
Right. And that can be an awkward stage, playing out all those things up front. And I feel like that's why some people avoid it. But it's very important.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I heard you talk a little bit about kind of the marketing you guys do, and this is a big one that I'd like to, dive as deep into as we can. Kind of give us a layout and go into each category, because you guys are completely different than what we do, right? But I think it's really cool, and there's some things that no matter what service company people own, they can implement it into their business. So go ahead and kind of go over maybe some of the key marketing strategies you guys do.
Oh, Matt, that's a trade secret.
Come on.
All right, just this once.
All right.
Don't tell any of your friends. So I guess basically I'll lay out our process at like a 10,000 foot view right now. We don't really do a whole lot of paper advertising or we do online stuff, a little pay per click and the SEO stuff, but we don't really get out and do paper advertising or billboards or radio commercials or things like that. I just we see all those things as passive, waiting for our customers to call us. What we do is we go out and we get our customers as opposed to waiting for them to come. So we have a team of marketing representatives that go to neighborhoods that right now we're pretty much in every neighborhood in the county. So we go into all those neighborhoods and we say, hey, you know what? We've got a lot of customers in your area, in your neighborhood. We actually, we take care of Miss Jones right here down the street. And we're actually giving away free estimates on the lawn care for the season. All we need is your phone number, and we'll be able to get that hooked up for you. So making those, we have a team of 6 people that do that, basically knocking door to door. And we have a goal of knocking 31,000 doors in the next like 12 weeks or so.
Crazy.
So yeah, it's a big number. So those leads come back to the sales office, and then hopefully, we have a conversation with them, let them know what we can do for them, how we can service them, and then hopefully just put them on our schedule, and then we take care of the rest with smiles on our faces and amazing customer service.
Cool. So that's like really your go-to sales avenue. And then do you guys do any kind of phone sales?
So all of those sales are made primarily on the phone. We don't do a whole lot of cold calling. I'd say 65% of the customers that we're going to put up this year are going to come from this door-to-door marketing campaign.
Okay.
And those are all we also call files, call old customers. This year we're actually calling back 10 years, which we weren't even part of the business 10 years.
Sure.
But it's kind of nice to say, hey, we're under new ownership. We want to get you on board, and we've been getting good feedback from that. So we call old customers, we call old prospects. So people who were leads in the past that just didn't end up signing up for whatever reason. So yes, we call anyone and everyone just shy of opening up a phone book and running down the list. So
cool.
Anyone that we can have a reason to call, we call.
Yeah, and I talk about that a lot, just even touching base with your customer base multiple times a year.
Absolutely.
I know you guys have services that you upsell in the fall and all that kind of stuff, and every company does. Even if they don't have it in place, they're your customer. It's okay to call them multiple times a year and try to sell them services. It's not unethical. They don't feel like it's a sales call. And so that's something I definitely encourage people to do all the time. So with that, your model is very different than even ours. I would consider our model to be recurring in a sense, but not nearly as much as yours is, where you're in front of your customers monthly, right? Where we may service a house 2 or 3 times a year at the most. So talk about that model and how that's beneficial for maybe hanging on to customers and building your client base.
Yeah, so that's huge. That's so important for our growth. Just because we don't have to rebuild our business every year from the ground. We can start. All right, this is what we got. Let's move forward. Let's double it. Let's do what we need to do. But knowing that basically, whether it's between 75 to 85% of our customers are going to come with us to the next year. One, you're not paying, if it's an automated thing, which it is for us, you're not paying for marketing for those customers. You're not paying for sales for those customers. And that's a big chunk of change. For us, it costs a lot of money just to get one customer.
Yeah.
And if we can bring on, 5, 6, 7, 800 customers into the next year, that's 5, 6, 7, 800 customers that we're not having to pay for.
Yep.
We already paid for that. We already sweat that out. now this is just gravy. Now we're actually making money on these people.
Yeah.
So it's huge. And we're kind of in the naturally recurring service industry, which I'm thankful for. But I would encourage anyone who is not in an industry, kind of maybe like you guys, where it's not like an automatic, okay, yeah, this guy's going to come out and mow my lawn every week or every 2 weeks. It's an unsaid thing that everyone understands. Figure out a way for it to be that.
Yeah.
Whether it's cleaning windows and signing them up for, okay, now I'm signing you up for your quarterly window cleaning program, or something along those lines. If you can figure out how to do that, that would just relieve so much work and weight off your shoulders. Because if we were to stop selling, I know that we would still have a business.
Yeah.
Right. It wouldn't be the business I want. It wouldn't be a big business. It wouldn't be growing, but we would still have money coming in the door.
Sure.
Moving forward. So, yeah, if you can figure out how to do that with your business, that's going to really take you to the next level as well.
Yeah, and I think a lot of guys get so focused on marketing and gaining new customers that they neglect the ones they already got. And some people don't realize that they're actually purchasing those customers, right? And so you're actually not that profitable the first time you're servicing them. It's when you service them again and again and again is when you start to make your money. Yeah. And so, no, that's really good for all you guys out there who are listening. Nurture that customer base big time, because that's where your money sits. And there's a lot of money in the customer base that if you don't call them, I mean, there's just money sitting there waiting to be used. People forget to call you. They don't think about your business every single day like we do. And so it's our job to call them and remind them and offer them deals or specials or whatever we're doing, or take notes and put it in your CRM so 6 months down the road, Mrs. Jones needs a house wash or needs her, fertilized or whatever it is. That's really how you start to grow a big business and double and triple every single year.
Yeah, just realizing that your customer isn't your initial billing.
Yep.
Your customer, if you can get that initial billing and that handshake, that customer, you want to create loyalty with that customer, and that customer is more than just, we washed her house once and it turned out great. She was happy. She's a great customer. No, it's we washed her house once, then we washed it again, and then we washed it again, and then we did her roof, and then we did her windows.
Yep.
And that's what a customer really is someone who keeps coming back.
Yep.
And we actually don't even count when we do our customer count. If someone hires us to do a one-time treatment or a 4-time treatment or a partial program or just a one-time service, we don't even consider that a customer. Like, so when you and I are talking and I say, yeah, Matt, we have 24 million customers, which we're almost there.
Yeah.
We don't count all those extra little people in there, because that's not what we're in it for. We're in it for creating that long-lasting relationship where it's mutually beneficial, right?
Yeah, for sure. So one more question for you, then we'll get off this thing. And I try to ask a similar. Yeah, I know your coffee's not done yet. I try to ask a similar question, and I won't do this one to you, but 2 days ago I asked a guy, if you could only do one piece of marketing, what would it be? It sounds like you kind of already know what that would be. It'd be your door-to-door sales. But if you could give one piece of advice to somebody in the business or starting a business that would be most beneficial, what would that be?
Oh, man. Well, I've got the coffee running through my veins, so I think I've got two.
All right, let's hear them.
One is systemize your business. You're not gonna be able to grow to where you want to be without doing that. Creating systems, and so that you can scale and step away from the positions that you're currently taking care of, so that you can hire sales guys, so you can hire sales teams, so you can hire a sales manager to hire that sales team. You need certain systems in place so that you can relay all that information and everyone buys into that vision. And you have a certain protocol for exactly how things need to be done that is spelled out in a way that there's no confusion, and everyone knows what they're doing. So that's one. Systemize. Number two, I would say a lot of times we get wrapped up in trying to perfect everything before we do it.
Mm-hmm.
And in years past, I know that's kind of held us back in a way. So you can, if you spend all your time aiming, you'll never hit the target unless you pull the trigger.
Yep.
So I tell my guys, this is great. If this is good enough to roll out and this is good enough to put some effort into and execute on, let's do it.
Yeah.
Instead of waiting for it to be perfect, because the days are going to pass by and opportunities are going to pass by. We can wait, we can procrastinate, but time won't. So just executing and doing instead of trying to make sure everything's right. Because the earlier you start that snowball, the bigger it's going to be. If you're just waiting for the perfect snowstorm to come by, you're probably going to miss out on a lot.
Yeah, 100%. And at the end of the day, what you think is perfect now, once you start to put it in place, you're going to realize is not perfect.
Right.
And you're gonna change things anyway. So,
yeah. So we, every year we do a budget at the corporate office, and we do hard looks, and we always say when we spend hours in a room planning out the whole year, how many sales we're going to get, how many stamps we're going to buy, how much we're going to spend on envelopes, right? We do all of that down to the cent, and then at the end of every meeting we say, all right, this is a great plan from which we will probably deviate.
Yeah.
So, because that's it. You get started 1 month down the road, you need to make adjustments. So if you spent so much time without getting the ball rolling, like you said, you're going to figure out that every plan is going to need adjustment. And if you can just make those adjustments as you go, you're going to be well off. So just do it. Just do it.
For sure. Well, cool, man. Well, hey, thanks so much for being on today. I know people are going to get a lot of value out of this, and hopefully you guys can implement something into your business that you learned today. So, Kyle, thanks a lot, and I still need to get down there. I know I told you I was coming.
I look at you in the background of your window. It's snowing.
It's snowing outside right now.
I kid you not. It was like 80 degrees for 3 days in a row this week.
Yeah, you texted me a week or two ago, and I know. So maybe I'll come down tomorrow since we're getting 6 inches today.
Sounds good.
All right, bud. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks a lot.
Yep, see ya.